Ready?
Yeah.
All right. Dude, break us off, man.
You ready?
Yeah.
Undefeated on three.
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Undefeated. Welcome back to Defining Moments Podcast. My name is Wong Lam. Michael McClintock.
What's up?
Your podcast is?
The Air Attack Podcast. Listen and subscribe. iTunes, Google, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio.
He's a host of his own show.
Yes, sir.
Glad to have you here, brother man.
Likewise. Glad to be here.
Absolutely, brother man. It's been almost a year.
Yes.
Do you remember how we met up?
I sure do. We met up at the On Q. We finally met up after a long conversation on Twitter, and finally met up on the On Q on Northwest Expressway.
Yeah.
And met there, and we had grabbed some drinks. Well, I should say you grabbed some drinks for a buddy of yours.
Yeah.
And I was there to finally meet up, and I think I did grab something.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I grabbed.
I do remember, but we'll leave that off the air for right now, man. The details of meeting people, I love it. So
exactly.
My question, and this is a deep question, and it's a serious question, man. How are you doing today?
I'm actually doing pretty well.
Yeah?
We're doing pretty well.
What makes you doing so well?
It's life. We're undefeated. It's freedom. Living the greatest country on planet Earth, and just living life and realizing that, my situation may suck at times, but people have it worse, and just enjoy every moment you can.
Yeah, I love it, man. How's the family?
Family's doing well.
Yeah.
My dad's, of course, struggling, but hey, he's alive, and we'll take every moment we have with him. So
yeah. How are you guys working through that with your dad?
It can be a struggle at times. I know my mom, I'm sure, is getting a lot of her burden, but I try to help out when need be. Of course, spring's coming around, so mowing season is going to be coming back in action, and so I'll be balancing my house and his house to mow, but we're kind of taking turns and just taking care of each other.
Yeah, right on, man. Our podcast is Defining Moments, and our love language of the podcast is gift giving. So we've got a few items for you.
Okay.
Check it out. Let's give you these two first.
Ah, man. You shouldn't have to, dude.
I know, but we want to, and it's fun.
Undefeated. Yes, sir. Undefeated.
Don't get tired of winning, baby.
Hey, we'll be winning a lot here, though, you soon. We'll be winning other things, too, but we'll talk that here in a sec. But,
we're winning at life.
You're right there.
Yeah, bro.
I'll be repping that every day.
Yeah. And this, now, I'm at the preface of I cannot verify the taste of this wine.
Okay. But
the story behind it, the third Thursday of every November, the French releases it, is a celebration wine, Beaujolais Nouveau.
Okay.
And it's a celebration wine. It's a first harvest. So the taste is different every year. And the label, the artwork on it is different every year. So it's become a collector's item for me. And so my wife and I wanted to give you this.
Well, thank you very much.
So if you don't drink it, that's okay. At least it's a collector's item.
Oh, absolutely. Very nice.
Bro, come on now.
Come on.
Come on now.
Undefeated.
Yeah.
Man, dude, you made me feel like I'm the number one overall pick, homie.
What's that?
You made me feel like I'm the first overall pick.
Oh, man, number one. Number one.
I appreciate you guys. No, from the bottom of my heart, from what I see what you guys do on in the community, it's far but none. I appreciate what you guys do in the community, and I definitely respect that. Keep doing what you guys doing.
Thanks, man. That means a lot. It comes from the heart. It's all genuine. What you see us, our videos, our pictures on Twitter, our stories, that's exactly what you get in real life. So
no, that's what it's about. No, I applaud you guys. Keep
I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. You talked about you feel like the number one draft pick. So Denver Broncos on the clock. 2021 draft. Who we got?
Trey Lance, the quarterback out of North Dakota State.
Wow. I've seen highlights on him.
I haven't seen him, physically play on TV. I saw the highlights, like you said.
Yeah.
I think he can be a player.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be better than Carson Wentz, but I think the quarterback situation is still up in the air. I like Drew Lock, but again, when you're hurt and you're in for 5 games, you're you haven't shown us nothing, and he showed some flashes. He's got some hiccups. So I say quarterback. That or defense. I think my key are Micah Parsons out of Penn State, I think, will be up there as well. But I would definitely, if Trey Lance is out there, definitely pick him at number 9.
All right. So we're going to have a gentleman's bet. I mean, if you guys pick him, maybe I owe you a steak. If not, then you owe me a steak, something like that.
I can do that.
I'll take you to a place in Shawnee that Parker introduced me to. It's the best steak around, bro.
Dude, that's high standards because I love steak.
Yeah.
When you say it's the best, man.
I love steak too, man. Beef. That's what's for dinner and breakfast and lunch and snack.
Midnight snack. But no, I'll be up for that.
All right. Cool, man. I can't wait.
I know.
All right. Air Raid Attack Podcast. Yep. You're the host. Mm-hmm. How did you come up with that name, and why did you come up with that name?
A lot of people don't know that I actually got asked that from a buddy of mine that does a podcast. I believe it's out in Oregon or California. But anyway, Air Raid, a lot of people don't know, is in Midwest City, military. So you got the Air Raid, of course, talking sports. People think of the Air Raid from Hal Mum, the creator of it. So however you want to call it, that cool. For me personally, more military base for me. Fighter jets, so on and so forth. Attack, hey. If you guys are OU fans, we know how they score pretty quick. We like to attack the defense pretty quick. Military, they like to attack their enemies. So either way, indoor. And then, of course, sports. Eventually, we're going to get into more, like kind of what, not so much what you guys are doing on Defining Moments, but more into entertainment or just people that want to share their life stories type of thing. But Air Raid Attack, long story short, to answer your question, balance out from the sports military aspect, put it together, and it may have the sports realm, but there's a lot more behind the story.
Yeah. What's your favorite sport?
American football, by far.
He said American football.
American football. I know football for me. American football for other people. I know we get the football and the football mixed up, but if I want to be, it's football. But no, football is definitely OU for sure. Denver, passionate wise, is right there with them. But no, football. What about you?
Man, that's my first passion and love is American football too, and it's definitely OU football because the story is my parents came off the boat and they got rescued. They got sponsored by sponsors in Guthrie. They came to Guthrie, Oklahoma, and it was all about Barry Switzer, Brian Bosworth at the time. 100. Yeah, and what's interesting is my parents didn't have any idea about the education side. They're like, just football. And so we grew up watching OU football.
Wow.
I coached soccer. I played soccer competitively, collegiately, and coached it very competitively. But man, nothing beats a fall Saturday afternoon, evening in Oklahoma.
Especially with the 60, 70 degree weather. Picture perfect.
Bro, it feels like freedom.
Dude, freedom. Going to the stadium, enjoying the 85,000 plus without masks.
Yeah.
It's freedom right there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're right. Without the mask, it's I guess it's raw and it's unfiltered. It's become a show.
Yeah.
Hey, look at me. Look what I quote unquote am doing by the quote unquote guidelines of it's. I don't even know what the guidelines if they're true anymore, to be honest.
Well, I think you're right, and I think, people, it's a touchy subject. I get it, but let's put the reality part into it. Is we've changed the guidelines, I think, about 2 or 3 times now. It went from airborne. It went from when it first kicked off, it was touchy feely. Where if I touch this, now this thing has COVID. Now that's where the gloves came into play. Well, crap, we messed up. Okay, gloves are out. Now it's the summer heat. Oh, perfect time, the summer heat. Oh, crap. Cases still continue to rise. Oh, toss that out. Now it's the mask. It's airborne. Well, now not 100% for sure. And people are now saying double up mask or even triple up mask, which I don't know if my ears are big enough to hold up 3 masks. I may have to try that tomorrow. But and the mask thing for people that want to think it's out there. From my personal experience, we had to be on call down to WinStar, the largest casino in the United States. Yeah. Well, they say the world, but let's go to the United States. I wore my mask 6-7 hours. About a few days later, got sick.
Oh man.
False negative.
Okay.
But me personally, I think it was some symptoms of COVID, or at least, and it's tracked into it. My youngest son, I think he got it from me. He had the worst of it.
Yeah.
He had vomiting real bad. He was 7. He was vomiting real bad, diarrhea real bad, and flat out temperature galore. So,
yeah.
Mask part, I'm sorry to break your guys' hearts, but my personal experience, they don't work.
Yeah.
Proof of that. So.
Yeah. No, that's interesting.
And plus, I can smell my coffee too.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I can smell my coffee. I can smell the barbecue across at Clark's barbecue. I'm just saying, I can smell stuff.
Clark's barbecue's good.
We always have that for lunch. Almost not always, but on occasion, it's real good. The catfish is. Do you like catfish?
I love catfish. Never had it though from there.
Definitely recommend it.
Okay, well we should go to lunch there sometime, man.
Hey, I'm right there. My office is right about how I can smell it. Mask or no mask, I can smell it. Hey, we're here to have fun.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. You know anyone that's personally had COVID? Your son did.
My son did. A buddy of mine who I talked to on occasion.
Yeah.
Him and his mom had it. Pretty bad, not to the severity of they're going to be admitted into the hospital. Someone I sort of kind of know. Sort of. 2 people actually. His memorial service is the 15th of this month, and then a gentleman about a month and a half ago or so passed away from it.
Yeah,
I know him through a conversation, nothing personal,
yeah.
But so on occasion I do. But everybody else is just take your Dayquil, NyQuil, and 2-3 days later they're perfectly fine. So.
Interesting. Man.
What about you? Do you know anybody personally that's contracted it or?
Yeah, my next door neighbor has him and his wife. And his youngest son had COVID. No, I'm sorry. His youngest son did not contract COVID, but he did. His wife did. And their son that's confined to a wheelchair for the rest of his life, he contracted COVID too.
Oh, wow.
So all 3 of them had COVID except for the youngest, and they all recovered. My next door neighbor, his grandfather, he's like 80-something, had COVID. He's fully recovered. His mom fully recovered. And so, I mean, to be honest, I have known several people who have contracted COVID and are fine. I mean, they went through the symptoms of, was that smelling, not smelling, all that, etc. But yeah, they're fine.
Luckily for me, I didn't have that one. But, and don't get me wrong, I do feel bad. I do feel for the people that lost their loved ones. But
for sure.
I'm still on the fence with it. It's a good, it's a virus nonetheless, but definitely my heart's go out. I'm not making a joke of the people, just so you guys know, I do actually have a heart.
No, I know. And that's the thing.
People calm down. It's okay.
Well, it's true. It is okay. And the fact of the matter is we're all dying.
Exactly.
Every day. And I remember talking to my parents about last March.
Mm-hmm.
And in Vietnamese, my dad said, look, we were dodging bullets and people were dying of starvation, of diseases on that boat for 33 days. Right? So, not saying that it doesn't exist. It does. However, the more fear you put into something, the less you're going to enjoy life.
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It's raw and uncut, but we have hearts. I promise you that.
Oh, yeah. Dude, 100%. But that's the thing is, it's okay to be real. Exactly. It's okay to be unfiltered. It's okay to be raw. It doesn't mean that we aren't sympathetic or have empathy.
Yep.
Because we do. You have a lot of empathy.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about, speaking of empathy, you talked about mental health awareness and all that. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. Of course, people don't know, of course, they dealt with the Chad Wheeler incident with the football player. And not just for him, everybody in daily life has a mental disorder of some sort. And of course, his, regardless of whatever it was, kind of took offense and attacked his spouse, or I don't know how she was related to him, girlfriend, wife, I don't know. But regardless, she attacked him, abused him, so on and so forth. But actually, to tell you that, a lot of people don't realize this. And my sister battled mental illness for quite some time. Oh God, she's married 7 years. No, that's not right. 8 years maybe. Anyway, she's been married No more than 10. I'll at least give her that. So anyway, growing up, she actually attempted 3 times attempted suicide. So not a lot of people know that. I mean, I don't know anybody knows that. So she battled that quite some time. I think we were at Mill City once. Then she went to Baptist on Expressway once. And then I think the 4th time after that she went there. And then they moved her to South Saints on Western, I believe, or 59th and Western, 44th and Western, somewhere in that time frame.
Yeah.
And so that to me, mental illness, it may not be for her. She has her moments. She's a lot better than she was back then, a whole lot better.
Yeah.
And so, but she still has her battles, just like everybody else does that's battling that horrific disease. And so, to me, it's a little more special because, when I got the news that I went to go see her and realized that, to us, to me, my brother, and I'm sure to my parents at the time, is like, man, do you love me? Because you want to kill yourself. So what is, are we not good enough for you? So you got kind of all kinds of things. I don't know her reasonings. I mean, that's her personal biz between her and my parents and whatever else caused it. To this day, I still don't know. And that's perfectly fine. So, but no, it's definitely a disease that's close to me. And I respect people and give them props that battle and express their stories. And I think some people like that should be recognized. And if you guys are, and I always tell people, just talk to someone. Mm-hmm. And, I'm here if they want to talk, find someone that wants to talk. You never know. They just want to vent and they move on. But that's actually, you're probably the first person besides my family that knows. I don't think anybody that I know of that knows that. So, but so that's why I posted that. So a lot of people realize that, hey, it's okay. Yeah. Get help, please. And if you feel like you're going to do something, definitely let someone know and they can get the proper authorities in there. Yeah. So,
well, that's great. Great points. I specifically asked you how you're doing, how your day going today, because to me that's important. Mm-hmm. It's important to hear the tone of voice, read body language, right? And we joke about the mask, but that's the thing is the mask hides a facial expression to a certain extent.
Yes, it does, and I'm glad you brought that up because I was actually kind of headed into leading to that. As the mask, unfortunately, kind of hurts everybody. Not so much me, but you or your wife or mine or anybody for that matter. Not just our family in particular, but it's hydrophasia. We don't know. It's like, are they really smiling? Yeah, we can't tell. Right. We can talk, but I want to read your lips because I want to kind of get, not so much the feel of it, but I want to get the tone like maybe he or she needs to talk, maybe, so on and so forth. So that's a great point. I think masks, unfortunately, are hiding our real help or blocking our help.
Yeah. And that's why communication is so important, whether it's verbal, whether it's nonverbal. It's so important to just have a discussion or just to listen. If someone wants to talk, just listen to them. Don't jump in. It's like, oh, let me help you solve the problem. It's not about helping solve the problem. It's just probably just listening.
Well, listening, people don't realize it helps 100 times better. Just sit here and just say, all right, let's talk. Yeah. Or let her rip, so to speak. So, but no, if people out there, it's mental illness. I know a buddy of mine, Dan, he battles with whatever, mental stuff he's battling with. So it's close to me, especially with my sister. Yeah. When he dealt it firsthand, it's a different vibe.
Yeah, it truly is. I met up with at the time, he was the CEO of the Mental Health Association of Oklahoma. And I did a training with him and his group. They talked about suicide. Yep. And how can you at least try to have a conversation with someone? And what should you do if someone says, hey, yeah, I'm feeling suicidal? And what's interesting is last year, 2 different friends, one's a colleague at work and the other one's just a really good friend of mine. Both I asked them if they were feeling suicidal. Wow. Yeah. And I don't have a problem asking that question. I'm not going to ask it to everyone.
Exactly.
But the key parts of it, it's like, man, I'm having a bad day. I'm struggling. I don't know what I'm even doing here, you know. So when I hear that, it triggers the questions.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what do you mean you don't feel like being here, etc.? Do you feel suicidal? And both of them said no. But if they would have said yes, I take the keys and I call the proper authorities.
Absolutely.
That's it. I stay with them until the proper authorities come.
Well, and that's what it's about, is that one person, you know, it may disrupt your day, so to speak, but at the end of the day, it's worth saving someone's life and making them realize, you know, at least you have that one person that's willing to, you know, love you, or, you know, like at least help you out compared to everyone that's been neglected. And, you know, we talked about the mask. Another thing that popped in my head is the 6 feet rule.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, it doesn't help, but whatever. Minus that, it's the fact that, you know, man, that person may need a hug. All they want is a hug.
Yeah.
You know, maybe their dad or mom passed away, or so on and so forth, or her husband died. A buddy of mine, or a friend of mine, you know, their spouse is battling some stuff, but, you know, obviously I can't do nothing about it because he's in a different state. But it's like, you know, it's like, I want a hug. Well, according to CDC, we can't. So nobody wants to. Now you're limiting yourself, and that's another thing. People like the personal touch, you know, means so much. And I'm more of a handshaker, and I'll give you a side hug, and, you know, and if you're family, I'll probably give you a hug. But, you know, people, they're touchy feely, nothing, you know, beyond that. But but no, it's a hug, and that's another thing that I think, unfortunately, everything's kind of caved in. I think I read something that suicidal rates are through the roof right now, or at least they're extremely depressed because you're isolating yourself, or you can't go do anything, or you know, as Dr. Fauci says today, you know, parties are, you know, not recommended, or so on, whatever, so on and so forth. But no, it's tough, especially during this time. You know, job loss for some people, so it's just a touch. It's bad for some people.
Yeah, it is bad, man. We went through a pretty big layoff today at work. I mean, about 20%, 15-20% reduction in it. It's tough, man. You know, it's just tough because you know a lot of colleagues, and you develop certain friendships outside the office, and you know they'll be okay, and you want to ask questions, but I'm just here to listen. Once again, you know what I mean? Yeah, and the whole Dr. Fauci thing is hugs, no hugs, bro hugs, no bro hugs, you know, air kisses, airborne transmission disease. I don't know, man. It's just independent research, common sense.
Well,
common sense.
When this thing broke the news, I was up in Newkirk on a business trip last year, and that's really when Oklahoma started to get going. Everything's starting to close. Schools are starting to close, so on and so forth. And, you know, one of the biggest things that still kind of push it to an extent is wash your hands. Well, common sense, I would hope, if I go use a restroom, whether it's number 1 or number 2, common sense is I want to wash my hands. Apparently, society has failed at that. So we're retraining ourselves. Maybe that's what's happening. The CDC is retraining us on the proper washing hand skills, and, you know, maybe brushing teeth skills. I don't know. Maybe for some, who knows? But at least the hand washing skills. Yeah.
Well, then they talk about the hand sanitizer. You make sure you use it, but then not too long ago, don't use too much of it because you'll develop something. You'll compromise and your immune system, and it won't be able to build itself. And then the whole recycling thing with masks. I see masks, disposable masks everywhere on the sidewalks.
I ran across one today. It's disgusting.
It's horrible.
Yeah, someone said, aren't you going to pick that up? I said, no. No. Regardless of what I do and don't believe with the virus, no, I'm not going to pick that up because somebody's, whatever it could be on that thing.
Yeah. It's irresponsible. It's lazy. Right? And it's just like common sense, just pick it up, throw it away in the trash.
And the trash can from where that was at to the entrance, or where the mask was at to the entrance, was no more than probably 10 feet. So well, first of all, you should have, if you want to get rid of it, you should have dropped it off in the can when you walked out the door.
Right.
So.
These are my next question, topic, if you will. You're on social media. How do you deal with negativity? You laugh at it?
No, I will laugh, but it's a good question. Is negativity? I don't like excuses. I'm the biggest probably pet peeve when it comes to excuses.
Yeah.
Well, he say, she said. I don't care. He say, she say. Should have been done. But when it comes to negativity, I honestly just look back. First of all, I honestly do scroll through the comments on Twitter. I'm getting rid of Facebook in the process of it, so it's just a joke. So I'm scrolling through negativity. Some people are legit. I just read and move on. Depends on what the topic is or what the comment was. I just scroll. It's like, nah.
Yeah.
I don't do stupidity at all.
Yeah.
And so how I deal with it is move on. If somebody personally attacks me on Twitter, I've had that for a while. Not recent, but in years past. I just make my joke like, oh, cool. So you're an intelligent person because at least you're writing me back, and I move on. I have fun with it on occasion, but for the most part, I either ignore it or I just move on. Negativity, especially with going on in my personal life, is like, I don't have time for it. Mm-hmm. And really, I think this country feeds off of it. Yeah. Because it's just a fact that it's I guess we get so bored or we have no actual life with us that we just feed off the negativity of, hey, well, did you know that Marcy over here is mad because OU took her tickets away. Now everybody's all, it's like, okay, well, probably there's a reason behind it, but we don't research ourselves. We just get to the assumption and like, boom, okay, well, it's because she's probably whatever. No, I get away. I try to shoo it away.
Yeah.
How about you? I know you're always on there. Not always. I shouldn't say always, but you're on there as well. If somebody pops in or you see it through your Twitter scroll, how do you deal with it?
No, that's a good question. I appreciate it. I have had negative comments. Mm-hmm. I've had someone actually call me borderline racist because I made MSG comment about tacos. And as a friend too, I was like, man, there's MSG in a lot of foods, bro.
Yeah.
Check out Doritos, Cheetos. KFC, yeah. And I was like, it's not a racist thing. And I was like, you have my number, just call me. Mm-hmm. And he came back again on Twitter. And I was like, look, this forum, this space is not for that discussion. You have my number.
Yep.
And even if you didn't have my number, I'd give it to you. Say, hey, you want to talk about it? Call me on the phone at least and talk about it. And so that's how I deal with it. I try to hit it head on, and I try to be as honest and have a conversation with it and educate.
Yep.
And I'll give you a great example is at work last fall, I was talking to a colleague and he talked politics with me. I was like, fine. And I get excited. I mean, I just love politics. I love history. I love math science. I just love knowledge, right? And so he's just getting fired up about politics. He talked about the Trump flag and how his neighbor's flying. It's pissing him off, and it's pissing a lot of people off. I'm like, okay, let me ask you a question. Is that the only flag that's flying? He's like, no, well, there's an American flag too. I was like, perfect. Which flag is flying first?
Yep.
He's like, well, the American. I was like,
there it is.
That's it.
Yeah.
I was like, it doesn't matter if it's a Trump flag, Obama flag, whatever flag, as long as the American flag is flying first, that's what matters.
Yep.
And he's like, he turns around, he starts logging onto his keyboard. And he's like, I just can't stand that orange man, that Agent Orange man. And I stopped him. Mm-hmm. I had to stop him. Because I was like, look, man, do you know Agent Orange was used in Vietnam?
Yep.
It killed a lot of men, women, children innocently, and soldiers on both sides. And a lot of American military that were in Vietnam are still suffering from that and are still dying from that. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, no, I didn't know that. I was like, yeah. It's like, I'm here to educate. Because in my head, I was thinking, man, you're lucky it was me and not someone else who might have served over there or had a family relative that suffered from Agent Orange. I could have taken it to HR, but I chose to educate. I'm not going to be the victims like, oh, he's being racist, made a racist comment. Nah, man. Educate. So
well, that's one thing we failed to do as a country on both sides of the party. I don't care at this point. On both sides of the party, Republican, Independent, Libertarian, or Democratic, we just get to say our 2 cents, and regardless of what you say, you're wrong.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't matter, or you're racist, or a bigot, or you're anything else.
Yeah,
you're fat, you're ugly. Cool. I mean, whatever. We just get to, our opinions matter. I think that's why social media drives. Is we get our 280 characters. Oh, see my comments. I have 22 likes. That means I'm a smart guy. No.
Yeah.
These 22 people probably just say, cool.
Yeah.
Moving on. So we just get, and that's it's just, we have to educate. And like you said, we got to educate ourselves.
Yeah.
Research it before you give your 2 cents. Because maybe, just maybe, like you said, if he didn't know, he would have came across the wrong person. And I've seen some of those military vets, and I know some of those military vets, he would have had his hands full.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing, man. When it gets emotional, I get it. I'm emotional, I'm passionate, I'm fiery, and that's okay. However, it's controlled, and you want to make sure that your words are chosen and articulated carefully in an emotional state.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So that's how I deal with negativity. Appreciate you asking that question, man.
Well, people, and it's a good question to ask because, some people don't realize they may join the party. It's like, well, where's my invite? But, it's a lot of people handle it different. I know me personally, I try to, if I can ignore it, as long as you're not personally attacking me, my family, or my coworkers. My coworkers are family to me. As long as you're not attacking them, friends, family, coworkers, cool.
Yeah.
Other than that, now once you start attacking them, we're gonna have some issues.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. If you think about it, man, what are some of the moments, if you reflected back on your life and you thought about some of your quote unquote defining moments, what would a couple of them be? And how did you get through it? What did you learn?
Man, that's a good one. Definitely first and foremost, when my grandfather passed away, my dad's dad, back in 2006, senior year of high school. So to me, that's always going to be, I always know, I won't know here's the deal. I can tell you how old my dad is because he's exactly 30 years older than me. And I can't tell you how old my mom is. I know she's in her mid-50s. I know that. I just can't tell you what age, even though she'll tell you she's 39. No, that year just struck to me, it was the senior year of high school. He was battling cancer for 10 years plus. Him and I were real close, and just how that's just how our family, my dad's side, we were all close. My grandpa was, of course, close to my dad. I'm close to both my dad and my grandpa. My kids are close to my dad. It's just a generation blessing, if you want to call it that. But to me, first and foremost was that, because I can still, to this day, we got the phone call, or the police officer came by my dad's house. It was a little past midnight. Literally just said, hey, I just want to let you know your dad passed away. We kind of expected it because the week prior to, he was shaving him, dropped my dad, according to my dad, I wasn't there, I was in school, but according to my dad, he was shaving him and he thought he felt, passed away. And he kind of said, Dad, and joked it up. Well, anyway, definitely, my grandpa passed away because he was a humongous piece to my life.
Yeah.
When we actually could go watch airplanes come in and take off at Rear Rogers before 9/11, we always did that. Wherever my grandpa was at, I was right next to him, or I'm running down the hallway to go get him. That's just how he always was. So I was close to him, and knowing that he passed before my graduation was pretty tough. That's when his biggest thing was, as long as I see Bucky, I don't know where Bucky came from. He always gave us 3 kids nicknames. Don't know how he got them, but that's how he got them. Yeah. So as long as I want to be there, I was like, okay. I said, well, you're almost there because it's March. I said, man, Grandpa, you're almost there. Of course not. He got the best seat in the house on graduation night by far.
Yeah.
But that'd be number one of being Grandpa. How I got through it really is just, it took a while. It's family support, family. You go back to family. Because I wasn't suicidal, I wasn't anything, but it's like humongous piece, left. It's like, he was like, always told me, do this, do this, do this. Yeah. Success. He grew up in the Great Depression, born in 1931.
Wow.
Back in those days, if you had meat, we're talking meat, steak, hamburger, so on and so forth, you were considered rich back in those days.
Mm-hmm.
At least, I can recall at least once or twice he's had it where they ate meat for dinner. Otherwise, it was your regular squash, potatoes, so on and so forth. So he earned his right. Graduated a high school class of 3. He was the town no longer exists. I think there's like 12 people now. Yeah. I'm sure it's the mailman and probably bakery guys. I don't know. Never been there, but I heard it doesn't exist anymore. But anyway, it's in Royal, Nebraska. But anyway, he grew up, didn't go to college because he couldn't afford it. Back in those days, FAFSA and all that stuff didn't exist. So pretty much if you didn't have it, you didn't have it.
Yeah.
Back in those days. And so he immediately, day after graduation, he enrolled in the Air Force, literally took it from there, spent 22 years in the Air Force. From there, he went to Alaska because he told me about his days in Alaska, how messed up they were because it's always daylight, it was always dark. However, ducky's very greasy. I do remember him saying that. Ducky's very greasy. Never had it, but according to him, it was greasy, and that's why he wouldn't eat it. I think he been to Switzerland or Netherlands, maybe both. Anyway, over there, I know he spent some time over in Germany for quite a while because my dad always told me about those days in Germany. But he was a family man that made sure his family was taken care of because he married took my grandmother, his wife, my grandma, and her 3 sons for her previous marriage.
Okay.
Where, not to get too much in person, but I am anyway, her first husband had 3 kids. She had to drop out of high school because to take care of them. And so he up and left her. Back in those days, people that's the same thing happens as it does now.
Yeah.
So up and left, they met down the road, so on and so forth. Had 1 more kid, call it quits. Of course, he was in the military. They traveled everywhere. They finally stopped in Oklahoma. I don't know what in the world, how in the world they ended up in Tinker, but they finally got in Tinker, Oklahoma, or Tinker Air Force Base here in Midwest City, and settled, and that was that. He was a humongous role model. Like I said, he was a family man. He made sure his family, if you're going to have a bad day, he's going to you can't leave the house saying, no, you're going to at least leave once laughing. You got to. I got so many stories, it would take 14 hours and all that. But no, it's a family man, again, veteran to a T, spent 22 years, worked at the Murrah building, retired right before the bombing. Had he not retired, he would have died because he worked on the first floor where the security was at the Murrah building. He would have been gone. There's no way he wouldn't have been. But no, he made sure his family was taken care of.
Yeah. And
to me, that was a huge piece. So growing up, or at that time, it's like, now I have fear of my family's now going to fall apart. But then we realized our family rallied together. So we got through it. It took a while, but family took us care. The other one, I would definitely say, 2. I'll come join them together.
Yeah.
In I should know this. 2013, Blake, so 2011, October 2011, there we go. October 2011, my wife and I had a miscarriage. I was working at OU Med downtown. Got a call from my boss, or from her, my dad, say, "Hey, Mike, are you at work?" I'm like, "Yeah." Lee's trying to get a hold of you. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I noticed, but we've been swamped. You need to get down to Saints." I'm like, "Okay." Call my boss. Blah, blah, blah. Come to find out they did ultrasound, all that stuff, and miscarried that morning. So I'm like, okay. Fast forward to last year, 2020. Now, granted, my dad's still around, but my dad had a major stroke. Blind, he's completely blind of his left. Unfortunately, update on that. Unfortunately, now on his right side of his face, he's starting to be where he's going to be blind eventually. At the rate he's going, he's going to be completely blind. And so, to relate those, people are like, well, that makes no sense. How are you going to dead person or dead child that you never met, or how's that different? How's that the same? you enjoy the moments in the story. You enjoy the moment. Because both events took place. I got a call from one of my parents, my dad the first time, my mom the second. Hey, your dad got in a major stroke. We assumed, I think personally it was a heart attack, a massive one. They're going to go stroke. I respect that decision. It doesn't matter at this point. He's physically disabled at this point. He can't drive. He can't mow, even though he says he can. He can't mow. It's tough. It's a tough thing, but enjoy the moment because you don't know what you got, how long you got with them. Now, granted, I wasn't expecting either and or of both events to take place, but I sat there, looked out the window at St. Anthony's when we miscarried. My dad was right next to me, and this is where I'm going with this, is my dad was right next to me. All he could say is, I love you, son. It's going to be okay. Fast forward almost a decade later, my mom sat next to me at the house because, unfortunately with COVID, you can't go see. And that whole week, my dad was in the hospital. That sucked.
Yeah.
I was like, man, the last time I saw my dad, I was helping him mow. Now I may not see him again because he was he's bleeding out of his brain. Nobody knew. No one thought he was going to make it. Blood pressure, they can't get it down. They can't get it down. I'm like, this is not good. My mom stood next to me. Kind of a thing is, it's going to be okay. We just have to hang on. So again, to answer your question, family the first time, 2A, 2B is enjoy the moment because at the very snap of your finger, that certain individual is going to be gone. You wish you had to say, well, I love you, Dad, but now you can still say, of course, but not physically 5 feet away from you. And so family and enjoy the moment. If you can do that, you're definitely going to stay undefeated, but you'll enjoy life a little bit more than you can, on a bad day.
Wow, man, that's powerful. I feel like it takes a lot of guts to share. And I do remember back in 2020 because I've seen some of your tweets and they seemed kind of like something was bothering you.
Yep.
So that's why I'm going to text you, see what's going on. That's what you told me about.
Yeah, because I think I can recall it to this day because someone wanted me to do a Periscope. Now, Periscope doesn't exist anymore. I guess not until March. I guess it's going to be axed, but that's fine. But whatever. I got on there. I was like, no, I'm not in the mood for it. Oh, please get on. Because, of course, nobody knew at the time what was going on. I'm like, all right. And that's when I said, hey, guys. And I think I did a show, too. It wasn't in there because people, and I finally told everybody, okay, he suffered a major stroke. Yeah. Of course, I told you before any of that happened.
Yeah.
But no, it was 2020, besides the whole whatever, just personally, it was a tough year. Yeah. Especially when, but again, just enjoy the moment. And the word out of 2020 is, and I'll ask you the same question, is looking back to 2020, of course, we're only a month and a half away or a month and a few days in, but how would you reflect on 2020? What, if you had to bring one word, using one word, how would you define 2020?
That one's easy for me. Undefeated.
Nice.
Definitely undefeated. And let me tell you why. And it ties back to that day my dad told me in Vietnamese, hey, we're dodging bullets and people were dying of starvation and diseases on that boat for 33 days. And I thought about it. It's like, that's the undefeated mindset.
Yep.
Right? Acknowledging things are going around the world. At the same time, how do you balance that and not let that bring you down? How can you go out there and make a difference with people? Right? And so then my wife and I started just doing giveaways, local gift cards. Yep. And then we started expanding it to the world if you wanted to get involved. Then we had some Twitter followers that started donating money.
I remember that. Yeah.
Sponsoring giveaways. And it's like, that right there, it's not just Wong and Margie being undefeated. It's the whole community together being undefeated. Jason White came on. Never met him. I've always wanted to meet him. I thought me and the Heisman Trophy was like, man, down to earth person. Yes, just like you and me. Yep. Cool dude, just like you and I. Just hanging out. So yeah, undefeated, man. 110%. I'll carry that for the rest of my life. This year's commitment.
I love it.
the commitment to whatever we do daily will make us undefeated. And to your point, a great point you talked about, being in the moment and loving the moment. That's it, man.
Well, that's what it's about.
Yeah, 100%. So well done on that.
And like I said, being in shows, I applaud what you guys are doing, and not just you guys, but like you said, it's the county of Cleveland County, the whole Oklahoma County, and even beyond, this border of the state, and who knows, maybe the borders of the country. But it's all about if we all just get in it's a team effort, to make a change, and it starts with one person. From that one person on, change can happen. We just got to hang on, and not so much hang on, but be a part of what's happening, and just be a part of it.
No, that's true. And that's late 2020s. I started that company, Storm Check, to service storm shelters, hire our veteran friends, get them involved in the community, share their stories, because their stories are important. They are important. And without the men and women that have fought and gave up their lives to defend our country, you and I wouldn't have this opportunity to be here. Right? So, I just thought about what can we do to help, and started a storm shelter cleaning business.
Which I like that, by the way.
Thanks, man.
I like that. No, that's I never thought, that's a good idea. I never thought that's first of all, I don't have a storm shelter, not yet anyway. Yeah. But I'm going to get one this year, and it's I never thought of that. That's a great idea.
We'll let us service your storm shelter.
Trust me, I'm going to let you, hey, Hong, I got a storm shelter. Come over here. Because I don't do spiders, so that's all. I'll let you guys handle that stuff.
Oh, yeah, we've seen spiders, we've seen rats, we've seen snakes down there.
Yeah, no.
It's nasty, man.
No.
Cobwebs. But that's a brilliant thing about it. I may have a desk job, corporate job, and do my job, but man, if I got to go down there and do that, I'll do it, man. That's not beneath me.
If I get over my fears of snakes and spiders, I'll help you out.
Okay, dude. Ride along with me one day. We'll do 2-3 of them. Yeah. I'll pay you.
I'll have to. Hey, you don't have to pay me. I'll just do it for the heck of it. If you want to get a good laugh, if there'd be a snake down there, you'll see me scream like a girl and run the other way.
We've got 2 GoPros. We'll take them both. One in slow-mo and one in real time.
Hey, give me the real time, because I'm going to be acting like slow-mo. I can guarantee you that.
Oh, man. That's good. So we've got our viewers, our listeners involved in our podcast. Yep. And we have accumulated a bunch of questions that they have tweeted at us, DM'd us, put it on YouTube. So in that box, shake them up, shake them up, shake them up, shake them. And we're going to pick out a few questions, and we're going to let you answer them.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, man.
Alrighty. Let's go number 1. When have you been happy the most? The most happy. When have you been the most happy? Honestly, when I'm with my family, especially my 3 kiddos. No offense to my wife, I do love her to death. But especially my kiddos. Just knowing that, what I'm doing, is long hours on occasion. Long hours, random trips to Newkirk for a whole week. The sacrifices for him, to see him happy, Christmas, birthdays. Yeah. Not even that, just being a part. My oldest son, he's almost to my height.
Wow.
He's almost there. He'll be a big boy. Hope Lincoln Riley watches this. He's got a future recruit coming.
Shameless plug, Coach Riley.
Yep. He can fill your in tackle real quick. But anyway, no, just, my oldest son and I were going to a Thunder game, and we usually talk sport. We talk other stuff like how me and my dad did, but he made something I really, again, enjoy the moment. He said, "Dad," I said, "Yeah," caught me totally off guard. He says, "I'm proud of you." I said, well, thank you. He says, because at the time I got transferred from Wilmington Park to a regional office position. He says, "You're doing your best that you can to provide for the family." I'm thinking, son, and that was when he was at 10. You 10 years, okay, where's my phone? I'm thinking, his mom's on the line. But again, I enjoy the moment. I was like, I realized, I'll be the glamorous jobs at times. I don't mind getting dirty, but I'm thinking, thanks, son.
That's awesome.
Again, so the answer to the question, definitely with my kids, family, dad, family for me. I'm a big family guy, and or friends in that matter. But when I'm around the people, even like today, people I love, respect, to me, it's irreplaceable. You can't replace it.
Yeah. Man, it's like you talk about your grandpa being a family man, Yep. That's brilliant. That's amazing. Let's do another question.
Let's go for it. Trust me, I know he would have voted for. Who do you text the Who do you text the most? Well,
I know it's not me, so
lately it's been homie. Well, that's a tough one because for the exception of excluding work, because that phone goes off nonstop from 7 to almost 7 at night. Excluding work, the wife, Isaac on Facebook, my oldest son on Facebook Messenger. He doesn't have Facebook, just a messenger part. You're on the top of the list. It actually shows me who's my top 3.
Yeah.
And then my mom just for kind of keep up with my dad.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I love it, dude. I think the communication, whether it's verbal, nonverbal, nonverbal is a text message, and obviously your wife and your kids the best, so you can read their energy and their emotions. Probably just do a text message, I would imagine.
And right now, of course, staying at home, with the kids being at home now because of COVID, because of schools and everything. Yeah, I've now officially know more of my wife than I did. I give her props for doing the home thing because I don't think I'm not saying I'm a humongous failure at school, but there's certain subjects I was not good at, and I just am glad that she can fill that whole entire role of being a teacher, mom, wife, principal, secretary, school cafeteria person. No, I'm kidding. All jokes aside. No, I'm glad that she can. I'm glad she can do that because I would be like, no, you guys are going to school whether you guys want to wear the mask or not. They don't want to wear a mask, but you guys are going because I just I give her props.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. What are a couple questions you wish people would ask you, but no one ever asked Mr. McClintock?
Why are you always... Let's go. Probably one, and I think is interesting, is what would you say? If you could change one thing about your childhood, what would it be? Or change what would you tell your younger me? And I think a lot of people, we don't really ask ourselves that, or even ask that. Is to me, if I could say my younger person, like, hey, Michael, 20 years ago. Well, I'm 32, so let's go 20 years ago, 12. Here's what to expect. If I could say, probably first question is, looking back on your younger life, even though I do feel old, on young life, what would you say to the younger person? Or how would you change things differently? Changing things differently would be tough. Grew up a pastor's kid. You already have the expectations through a roof. Mm-hmm. You're already being, like Donald Trump knows, he knows by experience very well. You're being examined literally for every tweet, Facebook post, Instagram post, whatever he had.
Yeah.
Literally, let's bring politics in it, but literally you're being graded on every, sign the pin.
But who's doing the grading, right?
Exactly. Exactly. But those witch hunts, those are fun. but you got, but you're graded like, oh, Michael's, I think when I went to college in Kentucky, my youth pastor at the time would message my dad, Michael's got and it was a beautiful, someone designed it. I liked it. It was just skull. I wish I still had it, but the skull, when MySpace was still big, before Facebook realized that, you can censor stuff. You have all kinds of, layouts and this, that, something. Beautiful skull. I literally got a message from my youth pastor saying, that's demonic. I need you to take it down. I said, well, first of all, it's not demonic. It's actually a pretty nice piece of artwork. Second of all, no. So he messed with my dad get involved, whatever. So I love being the pastor's kid. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But younger me, if I could say 20 years ago, and what I could change, probably would have been, first of all, not fall asleep in psychology. But there's another long story behind that. But probably worked a little bit harder in school, but focused more on what was important and realized at the time, more important stuff is more important compared to how many ball games or other stuff that took place. Work a little bit harder in school. Don't worry about the sex, the women, the sports, the money, whatever. Not saying I would have been on OnlyFans or fans only, but definitely would have done a little few things. Another question would have been, legacy. What would you be minded of? And I hope and I know I have 1,000-something followers. I can guarantee I don't know half of them. But I respect them. I love them all.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you half of them, but hopefully, Lord willing, they're still around when I pass on. The legacy is he was a family guy that worked his butt off. May not have been perfect at times. I screwed up at times too. But hopefully I remembered as a big-hearted guy that loves his family at the end of the day. He enjoyed every moment and was there when it mattered the most. Yeah. I can go into more stories, but to me, family at the end of the day defines the biggest undefeated reason of why you should live. And unfortunately, people don't have that blessing. I feel for them. Yeah. And so, and people always like, when McClintock's the last name. I'm definitely Irish. My kids show proof of it. My dad's proof of it. We're in the process we finally figured out where in Ireland. I have to figure out the city and town, but it's interesting tracking back. But, I think those would be definitely questions I've always why hasn't anybody asked? Another one is, what's kind of like the teeth. Someone's negatively earlier in the show. Well, I think this is MySpace. I think MySpace might have been Periscope. I really don't care. You look like Michael Strahan. Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm not black. Second of all, thanks for the compliment. He's a handsome guy. I'll give him props. First of all, he's more athletic than I am. I'm sure he's probably height-wise. He's got me at least 4 inches. I'm sure. Yeah. No, actually, I was tongue-tied at birth. And so what that means for people that don't know is your tongue is attached to the bottom of your mouth. So literally you can't talk. And so you kind of talk like this. It's trying to get going, but obviously you can't. Well, at the same time, up here, they should have clipped what was down there as well. Well, the dentist didn't, and so that's why you have the gap. So people are like, well, how do you have the gap? No, I'm not black, first of all. I always get that. Are you black? I do get another thing of, are you Hispanic? I do love Mexican food. I'm not Hispanic. I'm white as a goat. I don't know. My mom asked me, she said, yeah. Someone asked me, is your oldest son Mexican? She says, no. I don't. Honest to God truth, I don't know why. I'm either, somehow I'm black, which we all, technically, if you want to consider it, I'm Vietnamese, I'm Arabic, I'm Canadian, I'm Hispanic. Because at the end of the day, we all bleed the same red. So we're all foreigners. There's no such thing as I'm American. Well, we are American. I'm Irish. I'm Irish American. My ancestors shipped over. Hey, that's why I love this country. We're all from one area. But yeah, it's a true story, man. I'm Hispanic. I look Hispanic and I'm black, which, hey, I'm Michael Strahan.
Hey, dude, nothing wrong with that, man.
Michael Strahan's cool.
Yeah, he's cool. And when you said the gap, I was he's the first one I thought of. Yep. And it's cool that, man, it is what it is that point.
When someone asked me, why don't you get braces? Well, hell, I'm 20-something years old. This is how apparently God wants me to be made, and that's how it's going to be. Yeah. Now, 40-something years down the road, if I'm 70-something years old, I got to have all my teeth pulled, and so be it. Right. At least I had the 70 years prior to look back and like, oh, that was cool. Kick a field goal. Good.
Dude, okay, so have you listened to our podcast?
Mm-hmm. I listened to it this morning on the way up to Blanchard.
Man, because the questions that you just answered or asked yourself are the questions I knew.
That was one of them. I do remember the going back to changing thing. Now the other one I just thought of, like, just off the top of my head. No, I listened to the one. I can't remember which one it was, but one of them was if you could look back and change. Yeah. By the way, great podcast, especially when you go to Blanchard. You know, the radio I still think is hyped in.
Dude, I'm saying, this was like, this guy sounds like we're just, whatever, man. This is great.
No, I listened to him. Good work.
He's almost got me stumped. But you haven't stumped me.
Exactly.
What's your future plans for the Air Raid Attack podcast?
You know, we're working future plans. I like to get it going. I know we're in the process, or I'm in the process of who we are, but I'm in the process of getting intro stuff, you know, where my goal is to get, you know, bigger name coaches. Understand they're busy, not so much Lincoln Riley, but maybe a Lon Kruger, Skip Johnson, the OU baseball manager. There's certain big time people, maybe not coaches, athletes, maybe front office. I like to get politicians on. However, I've been told through the grapevine, if you get a politician on your podcast, more than likely you're either going to end your career on a short note or you're spike it up. I don't know.
What do you mean in your career? In your career as a host?
As a podcaster, yeah.
Why?
This person, I don't really think highly of as it is, but pretty much will say he loves the SEC, just so you know.
Okay.
You know, whatever. You know, it's not my fault that your team got stomped by an OU team, but, you know, whatever. But no, he says when you bring in politicians or you talk politics, it's a good way to end. Supposedly, it's a long story short, if you brought in, let's go, Kevin Stitt, who I love to death, Kevin Stitt. Supposedly, it might end your career because a lot of people will look at you as strictly Republican, strictly Democrat, strictly Libertarian, which I think is a bunch of BS, me personally. But again, so to answer your question, if it ends my career or not, hey, I don't get paid for doing this.
Yeah.
So it's fun. End my career, cool. That means half my Twitter followers are going to be off my list.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I don't know why because I got a few people in mind I would like to message out and say, hey, would you be interested? I want to do it anyway, just because.
Yeah.
I mean,
totally should.
It.
I
mean, it's not like it's not like Sirius XM going to pick up the Air Attack pocket. Oh, this dude's so controversial, we need him. Yeah. I mean, the chance of that is no.
That's the thing. You talk about controversial. That's what I feel like a lot of people try to seek out or want, because it's the hot takes, and it's like it's okay not to have a hot take. It's okay not to be controversial.
Exactly.
If you want to have Governor Stitt on, have Governor Stitt on. If he decides he wants to come on, great. I think it would be a great honor to have Governor Stitt on.
Boy, no kidding.
We had Lieutenant Governor Purnell on before he was Lieutenant Governor. During this campaign, he came on the show.
He's not a great guy.
He's not?
He's a good guy.
Oh, he's a good guy. I was like, what?
Well, I don't know. I mean.
Oh, he's a good guy. He's a great guy.
David Holt, the OKC mayor. He's another one I'm trying to get on. Now, he'll comment and tweet back up from time to time. So, hey, it's worth a shot. But, you know, people will sit there and try to, and to answer your question, long story around, is I'm going outside the boundaries. So what's the plans for the podcast? We're going over and beyond. I'm not going to limit the podcast in the box that says, well, you strictly need to talk sports because it's an Air Raid Attack podcast. Well, no, technically no. You may have a football behind it because some little douchebag thought that the real talk in the 405 was his idea, and whatever. So anyway, you know, we're going over and beyond. You know, I'm just going outside the box. You know, it's time to, you know, be undefeated. Just go out there. You know, and the message, the text that you said, hey, be yourself. So you know what? It's time to be yourself on the podcast. Not saying I wasn't myself on the podcast, but be yourself. Go get the politicians. Go get the entertainers. Go get the local donut shop guy, because maybe he has a story. Especially local businesses. I love local
100%.
businesses.
Yeah.
Most of them, if you're in these small towns, there's a story behind them.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's the goal this year. I don't get paid doing this.
Yeah.
I don't think and really, if I was, I don't know if it'd be even fun at that point, because then you're already limiting yourself. It's like, yeah, I want to push myself, but now you already know you're getting paid. It's like, I want to go more.
Yeah.
But we're getting paid, so you kind of set your boundaries in the comfort zone. So no, I'm going hardcore this year. Hopefully, hoping to add a co-host. I would like to. I know the people, the female mix, like, oh, but you're married. No, okay. People, it's 2021. You have to think outside the box. I like to get a female aspect on it, just to get a woman's perspective. But at the same time, I got someone in mind that, if he's interested, I'm not for sure his schedule. I know he works nights, which would kind of eliminate quite a bit.
Yeah.
But no, we're going out. We're
That's
going
cool,
out.
man.
Literally going out with a bang.
Yeah.
Going politicians. I got someone in mind that, out of respect to her privacy for the time being, I'm going to keep it definitely at a DL. Because I'll let you know off script.
Yeah.
But for now, down low. But no, it's we're going this year. We're going big time hardcore.
Dude, I love it, man.
Yeah.
Get outside the box, get outside the comfort zone, do what you want to do, be you. That's the thing. People are like, oh man, just be you, be you. And then you start being you. They're like, oh wait, hold on, man. Put on the brakes
and that's a good point, because that's how society is now.
Yeah.
Especially right now with everything going on. It has been the last 4 years, regardless of what fencer you were on, was, oh, now if you're a Trump, you're a racist. Well, no, but okay. If you're Biden, well, you're whatever. Well, you might be. And that's perfectly fine. But I don't like these masks. I'm trying to get rid of these masks. But isolating ourselves don't work. But anyway, the long story short is the last 4 years, especially the last 4 years. I don't recall this country being so divided previous, but it's like you said. Oh, I can't believe Mike said this, and now all of a sudden, oh, he's a racist, he's a bigot, and now we're, the negativity comes into play.
Yeah.
We're offended.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely not racist. You're definitely not a bigot. You are a family man who believes in country and believes in freedom. Your grandfather was a great man, great family man. Your dad was there by your side in 2011. Then your mom was there in 2020. So, I mean, dude, you're undefeated, bro.
Absolutely.
100%.
And, I got military. My uncle served in the Navy. My grandmother's brother, Army. And then my two cousins currently serving overseas at an undisclosed location, both in the Army as well. So we got military background. I was thinking about joining National Guard, but unfortunately my back had some issues. So bummer. But I pay my respect to them all. They all definitely deserve it. And the Space Force.
Oh yeah, dude.
I know people don't think that as a branch, but the Space Force as well. So
no, that's cool, man. It's creative, and that's what we need in this country is creativity, getting outside of the box bubble, if you will. Because people argue like, no, there's no box. It's like, yeah, people live in a bubble. Yep. And I don't care which book you're at. That's the thing. You read so many books, like, oh, that's the one. That's it. Like, use your own brain. And just look around. We do live in a somewhat of a bubble, so we got to get outside, branch, to your point. Branch that podcast. Have fun. Be you.
Exactly. I mean, you got to branch yourself out. I mean, regardless if you're a podcaster, if you're an entertainer at work, you gotta set yourself out there. Because, I mean, you never know. You may run across that one person that's like, I really like him or her. And there's you're setting the tone for yourself. And from there, you don't know. The sky's the limit after that. But you got to get there first. You got to set yourself out there, and then you got to branch yourself out there. So that's the goals, and I think we're going to get there. Just it's a process. It's like everything else is.
Speaking of process, Governor Stitt, Michael McClintock. If you were to ask Governor Stitt one question, what would it be, and how to get him on your podcast? You got the con.
Ooh. First of all, Governor Stitt, if you're watching this, thank you for your service. You're doing my marvelous job, especially taking over what was a debacle of Governor Mary Fallon. But all politics aside, first off, if you're watching this, I would love to have you on the show. I'm sure you can get my number. Department of Transportation, I'm sure has it. Or you can tweet me. I don't know how politicians can find us, and I'm sure there's a way. But my question to you, besides coming on the show, is in order to make Oklahoma continue the great trend that you're going, education still seems to be the issue, unfortunately. And COVID, I think you're doing a great job regardless of what the media says. How can you improve education, and what kind of options are you giving those stay-at-home parents that are during this COVID time? How are you going to help them out in the long run? Because I know a lot of them were lost jobs from it, income cuts, and so on and so forth. So I guess my question to you, Governor, is, is there a way we can help these families out that's dealt with the homeschool during this time?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. So Governor Stitt.
Governor Stitt, please come on the show, and please come see this wonderful man too. Trust me, I'm a huge fan of yours. Nothing's going to happen. No, for real, I love Governor Stitt. JJ, his brother, I'm working on him right now. Him and I used to talk, but we still talk on occasion.
Okay.
So, hey, like I said, it's a process, but hook up with JJ. He's a wonderful guy too.
Okay.
Definitely wonderful.
So, you talked about co-hosts earlier. If you wanted a co-host who could translate what you're talking about in Vietnamese for your audience,
I don't know. On Anchor, it will give us give me a whole list of countries that my podcast is out to. I can get on there right now and name them all. But you got Canada, you got Mexico, Singapore's on there, Switzerland's on there, Japan's on there, Iran's on there, which I find very interesting. I don't know they have technology out there. Iran, there's a few other ones, but
that's awesome,
it's
man.
Pretty interesting.
That's a great reach.
Yeah, no kidding.
Wow.
I'm really stoked about Iran. I love Iran now.
Dude.
That's my people now. But once we get North Korea and then we got some in Russia, once we get those two, then I'm going to get my guards up now. But no, it's pretty cool. But yeah, I'll definitely have a translator. Hey, next thing on the list, I'll get on YouTube. I'll start a YouTube channel, and I'll do it. And people are like, well, you're mocking. No, it's really like a great idea. Again, we're thinking outside the box and going beyond. ASL.
There you go.
Sign language.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that does it, but I'm sure I can find someone.
I got some people.
And say, hey, can you interpret this? Because who knows,
That's true, man. 100%. You could actually send your podcast to someone, they would do it for you.
That'd be pretty.
I don't know how much it would cost, but it's probably not bad.
I'm sure it's not much, no.
It's probably more than $15 an hour, but
hey, if it's more than $15 an hour, then these guys really need to realize they can educate themselves and actually pursue something.
I love it. Because that's important. ASL is huge.
You can get some good money. You can make excellent living off of that.
100%. Especially the ones that get into it when the politicians are going off, they body language is like, man.
I'll have to send you a video. I'm sure you probably saw it. But this woman is doing a rap concert. Boy, this woman gets into it. I don't know. You might have seen it.
I haven't seen it. Send it to me.
It's I have to find it. Okay. It's an older, probably good 5-6 years ago, but it's definitely pre-Trump. But no, because you got it's fascinating. But she was getting into it. I was kind of, in the rapper. I don't know who the rapper was, but he was getting into him like, you go, guys.
Nice.
No, it's really cool. It's really cool. So, but no, again, it's outside the box, and
I love it, man.
Canada. Hopefully, I'll be up there soon because we were supposed to be up there in April. We're supposed to fly out to Oklahoma City, Minneapolis to Winnipeg to Calgary to Vancouver, sail out, hit up Alaska, come back to Seattle.
Dang.
And then COVID. I was still going to go. Honest to God truth, I was still going to go. My wife was really, at that point, was leaving because, that one cruise ship or a boat or whatever it was got stuck out in sea for 14 extra days or whatever in California. So she was starting to get her mindset like, I really don't. I was like, nah, I'm paying for this. We're going. Yeah. Again, like you mentioned earlier, don't live in fear. I was like, no. And then, of course, Carnival Cruise says, sorry, but I'm like, okay, well, now I can't go.
Yeah.
So, of course, they're still working with us, but I'm going to keep that Alaska trip because I've never been up there. I would love to go up there. I would really love to go up through Canada and visit that. So once they open the borders up for us, for us Americans, I'll appreciate that.
I like it, man. How do our viewers and listeners get in touch with you, brother?
Hey, On Air with Mike, MIKE. Some people do ask that MIK or MIC. No, it's MIKE. On Air with Mike. Follow the show, Air Raid _podcast. YouTube it. We'll get that out there. It's Air Raid Attack Podcast. Search it. You'll see a few videos. Most of it's just the audio version of the show. Facebook, I don't do. Instagram, no. Snap, I don't get that point. But definitely Twitter, YouTube it, and all the information we will get out there as well.
He's not on TikTok.
Sorry, China. You're not going to see my house, and you're not going to see me do whatever kind of dances are big out there right now. Double up, man. Sorry, China. I can't buy into that right now. I just can't. You guys are smart. You guys are way out beating us in technology and education, but you guys will be waiting for the next 4 years. I do promise you that. But nonetheless, no, for real, I don't do TikTok. I can't watch people either. I feel uncomfortable because a lot of people look like they're 12 or 19, 21, and they're like, oh, I'm 13. I'm like, oh, shit. So, no, I don't do TikTok, but definitely On Air with Mike. All jokes aside, Air Raid _podcast for the Twitters. YouTube Air Raid Attack Podcast. Search it and find it all out there.
Once again, in Chinese, Joyce here. Thank you very much
for
your time coming on our show. Look in the cameras. We have 2 of them, man.
Oh.
Mic'd up, wired up, technology. This is raw because, look, our technology failed.
It's 2021. The Chinese have already seen us. And our own government probably watched us. That's amazing. Have you No, I'm done. My Wi-Fi's been messed up since the guy took office. I'm just going to let everybody know that. Damn.
Look in the cameras and do you approve this podcast?
I'm Michael McClintock, and I approve this message. And I approve this podcast.
My name is Wong Lam. Joyce here. Come on. Merci. Gracias. I say in 4 different languages, man. Thank you. 5 languages. I approve this podcast.
I need to catch up to you, man.
Man, I love it, brother. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.